Hi, good day, I'm John, and today I will teach you and navigate through our online system, which is the Online System Integrated Tuberculosis Information System, or the ITIS. To begin, let's log in first our account. If you already have one, you can just type your username and password, then click Login button. If you don't have yet, just click Register just below the Login button, and after that follow the procedures, or you can ask some assistance to our project associate. After we log in, you can already see your user information in the homepage, and from here you can have access some of the modules, depending on what user level you are. From my user level, which is the province level, I can only access 4 modules. One is the case management module. The other one is the inventory module, the other is the reports module, and last the directory module. Now, since we already know what type of modules we can access, first, I will teach you about the case management, which is the main module where we encode our TB patients. Let's go ahead, hover our mouse pointer to the case management module and click once to open the module form. You can tell if we are inside the case management if this menu here is highlighted. As you can see, after we click the case management, we have a menu on the left side that appears. And we have 6 buttons to choose from. First is the advanced search button in case we want to search a specific case or patient. The other is the add patient where you want to add new patients. The other is the referrals if we have incoming referrals from other facilities nationwide or from other local facility. Then the records for validation if we still have existing facilities that needs to be validated. Then the daily DOT. And lastly, the private TB notification. Later, we will learn how to navigate each menu, but first, let's try to go for the advanced search. Let's hover our mouse to the advanced search menu and click it using the left mouse button once. A pop-up window will appear after we click it. There are specific fields to input if we want to search for a specific patient. You can try to input as many fields as you want, but there are some that you can combine. You don't have to fill all the fields, just a few will be enough. You can try it later, after we encode a TB case. Let's go ahead and try the next menu, which is the Add Patient button. This is the tricky part, so listen and follow the steps carefully. Now, let's click at the Add New Patient menu. Here, you can see a few text fields. First is we will try to search for a patient to know if the patient we're encoding is already at the database. Or if the patient we are trying to encode is already existing. After you put some information, just click Search Patient button and wait for the system to search if it has already a record in the database. There is an important note saying, if the patient you're trying to add is existing in the list below, just click the View Patient Record or the green button in the View column to add or update its new TB case, and if not, please click the Add New Patient Record, and since the name I'm trying to search is not in the list, then we are just going to click the green button Add New Patient Record. A new window will pop again on the screen. Here, as you can see, the name we input has already at the same field we input them. We can still try to edit it or change the spelling to correct it. Now, just follow the video or hit pause button to catch up. Take a look at the fields that I'm encoding and take note that the labels with corresponding symbol with red asterisk means that this field is highly important and should be filled, or else an error will display. Let's speed the video up a bit. You can hit pause button anytime if you are unable to follow. And finally, after we filled up the fields, we can scroll down a few and just click the Add Patient button. Once after clicked, we are redirected to the patient's information. Simply click this green text and it will show the information we put a while ago. You can check if the information below are correct, and if not, we can still edit these fields if we wish to. Just simply click the paper and pencil icon at the right side and try to edit the fields that you want to change. Now that we have all the information encoded, we can add a TB record for the patient. Just click the Add TB record on the right side and wait again for a new window to pop up for the Add TB record form. In the new form for adding TB record, just fill all the blank fields inside and always be reminded that the labels with the red asterisk symbols is the most important and is highly recommended to be filled. Also, take note that this information can be found all at your TB registry and treatment cards, and it is important that whatever is in your manual records should reflect the same in the system, or we will contact you again to edit and correct the infos. Let's speed the video up a bit. You can hit pause button anytime if you are unable to follow. After all the information's encoded, just click the Add TB record button and wait again to be redirected to a new window for the patient's profile, which is the case finding. We can check again if all the informations below are correct. We can edit anytime if we find something incorrect. Just click the paper and pencil icon button at the right side of the screen. After the patient's information, the screening facility, age, address, mode of screening, date of screening, contacts and etc. On the screen you will see some headings, the symptoms and physical exam. Let's click the edit button from the symptoms table. Here, you can click multiple checkboxes that you chose to and simply type in some comments. Just click the update symptoms button if you're done. Here we can see that the symptoms table has already some checks on it. And let's also edit the physical exam table. There are few variations here that we can edit, and we can choose some of the ratings like not done, normal, or abnormal. Then add some remarks. After editing, we can simply click the Update Physical Exam button and proceed to the next table below. Lastly, a few headings are need to be updated also. One is the history of TB treatments, comorbidities, risk factors, and vital signs. This is important that we update the risk factors, and we can check here if the patient is a TB or DRTB patient, an inmate, a contact of a confirmed suspected DRTB case, and add also the vital signs. Then let's scroll up the browser. One thing we can notice is that the patient's profile is still for validation. It is because we still have some forms to be filled. And if you notice at the right side, the status of the patient is screened. Let's update few of the forms remaining and check later and what will be the status of the patient after we filled the other forms. Now that we are done with the case finding tab, we will proceed to the second, which is the examination. In this tab we will learn how to add different examinations and how we can add some examinations inside the tables. Let's point our mouse to the examination tab and left-click on our mouse button. Inside the examination, we can see that we have table with some rows and a few columns. This columns has some button beside each labels with a green cross icon, and that is where we are going to add some data. Where on the left side of the table, it is where the data will follow, depending on what we will assign on the examinations. Let's scroll the browser and take a look below. There, we can find some few labels to add also. One is the X-ray table, the other for tuberculosis skin test, also the HIV information, other laboratory tests, and lastly the diabetes screening. Let's scroll the browser up. Let's try to add some examination. To add, just simply click the green cross icon beside the label we want to add. In this example, we will add an expert for the first examination. Just hover our mouse pointer to the green cross icon and left-click. After that, a new window will pop up. Just like the other forms that popped up, every labels with the red mark or red asterisk is the text fields that is needed to be filled. It is important and should not be skipped. Now, continue the video and follow what I am encoding. This is just an example, and you can hit or click the pause button anytime if you were unable to follow. Note that this data that will be encoded here will vary and will depend on your treatment cards and TB registry books. After we're done filling all the fields, we can simply click the Add Result button, and the window will automatically redirect and refresh to the same examination window tab. Now you can see that we successfully added an examination data for the patient. It is recorded at the Before Treatment label row. It will also be the same for the other column, to be recorded in the Before Treatment. If we chose it for the other like the culture, smear microscopy, etc. Now let's add some in the smear microscopy column. We can follow the procedure just like what we did in the expert. But take note that the other fields will be different from before. In the results field, if we choose or click the +N, it means that we can unlock the text field next to it, which is the number of AFB. It means that we can add more results higher than the +3 option. And by the way, the ODT option means, or the other diagnostic treatment, if we opt to click that, we can just add remarks directly and state if other results are detected. Look carefully, when I opt back to other given results, the number of AFB field went locked. So be careful when choosing these fields. After we're done filling up, just click again the Add Result button. You can see that we also added a smear examination in the row label before treatment just like the examination because we choose it as a first examination period. And you can see it also displayed the results +6 just as what we encoded earlier in our example. Now, let's try adding another examination for the expert, and this time, we will select the date examination to the second week, and let's find out what will happen. Just follow the procedures from the first examination, and always be reminded that we should always fill all the fields especially with the red asterisk symbol. And if we're done we just click the Add Result button. If you look closely, we also added another examination, but this time it's on the row labeled second week. Then let's try also adding a second week examination follow-up for the DSSM. Just click again the Add button or the plus green icon in the smear microscopy column. Follow the same procedures again just like we did, then click Add Result if done. You can see that I made a mistake adding an examination here in the microscopy column. But no worries, we can still edit and change it by clicking the paper and pencil icon inside it. Let's try and edit the form and continue again the same procedures. Now, after all is set, we can click the button name Save Result. There you go, we have successfully added the DSSM result for follow-up on the second week row. Same thing will be the results for the other rows of follow-ups that will be recorded. For example, if we chose the first month, second month, and so on, it will reflect here in this table. Let's not forget the table below, after the examinations table. Also and most importantly before we proceed to the last form, we need to add the X-ray results of the patient, the TST or tuberculin skin test, and the HIV information, other laboratory tests if any, then lastly, the diabetes screening. If you notice, after we add some examinations in the data, the status at the right side is still at the screened label. It means that the patient is still being screened and has not yet diagnosed and treated and still for validation. That's why we still have a last form to encode in our TB case. This is the final tutorial in encoding a TB case, so follow the steps carefully. To proceed, we will now point our mouse to the Caseholding tab or menu and left-click. We will be redirected to the table inside the Caseholding form. We have a few tables to encode. So first will be the diagnosis table, followed by treatment information table, then the treatment adherence table, and the last two tables, contacts investigation and the transfer history. So first, we will add diagnosis to our TB case. We will again click the green plus icon. Then a pop-up form will show. All the fields here will have a red marking, so, in any case you will forget one field, you will unable to proceed unless fill all the blanks. This is just an example, different cases will still vary on your respective TB registry books. After we're done, we can simply click the button Add Diagnosis. Notice after we add diagnosis to the case holding, the status at upper right side is changed to diagnosed. This means that the patient has a diagnosis record in its case holding data. Note that we can still edit the diagnosis form by clicking the paper and pencil icon if we misspelled or input a wrong data, or we can simply delete all with this new icon Delete button. After that, we will now add treatment information to the case. Let's point again our mouse to the green plus icon and click to open the Add Treatment form. Now in this form, we should be careful in putting the dates here, for it will automatically compute the dates and months where the patient will start taking medications, the intensive phase, continuation phase, in a 6-month period. Again, the fields with the red marker asterisk should not be blank. Other fields you may refer to your MOP6 manuals for some infos. This includes type of treatment, digital adherence tool, regimen type at start of treatment. There is one check box here in this form, labeled as Transfer In. We can simply click this checkbox if we considered the patient as a transfer in from other facility. After done, just click the button below. Now that we added treatment information, we can notice again at the upper right side that the status has changed, it is now on treatment. This means that the patient has a treatment information record in the ITISv2 case holding profile. Look closely, after adding treatment start date, other dates showed up in the form. These are for the continuation phase and the treatment end. Now that we had filled the treatment info, a new table will show below, which is the treatment adherence. In this table, it will show multiple checkboxes with the corresponding months on the left. This is equal to the dates from start of treatment and date of treatment end. These checkboxes will be marked, wherein, if the patient has taken up a medicine in day 1, we will mark a check on it, and so on and so forth. To edit, just simply click this paper and pencil icon, and a new form will pop up. In this form, it will show what type of month we are editing, it is located above. For example, if we want to add a check mark on a specific day, we will click this drop-down menu or this arrow down button, and it will display a choices. This letters C, I, A, H stands for C for complete, I for incomplete, A for absent, H for holiday, and lastly hold if the patient is on hold for treatment. If we scroll down, there is 3 buttons below. First button is All Complete button. It means to mark all days with complete treatment, then the Reset button means to reset all marks as blank, and the Update Treatment Adherence button if we are done assigning marks on the dates. Let's try clicking the buttons and see what happens. As you can see, after I clicked All Complete, it fills all the dates. Then reset again to make it all blank. For a demo, let's try day 1 and update the treatment adherence. There you can tell that we added a check mark on day 1 after we update the form. For the contacts investigation, it is also recommended to add family members, any close contacts of the patient, and if for instances if the patient is suspected multiple drug resistant. In the transfer patients table, this is where we transfer patients to other facility. First is we have to contact the receiving facility that we have a patient that would like to transfer, then if approved, we should update this form and mark it as a transfer out patient. Now that we are all done and set, we should double check all the tables. If the data are all correct and complete, and if the status is on treatment, then we can finally validate the case. To validate the case, simply click at the middle button, Validate TB record. Then wait for a message saying TB record successfully validated. Wait for the browser, it will automatically refresh the page. Note, only validator's account can validate TB cases, so if your account is only for viewing or encoding, you cannot validate cases. Congratulations, you have completed the first stage of the tutorial. Next tutorial I will teach you how to generate reports and navigate through parameters, send reports for quarterly encoding, and so on. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening.